All right, so subqueries. We ready? Just trying to figure out who we're missing here. Oh, well. So subqueries are basically where you do a complete query inside of another query. And they're usually separated by parentheses. So I'm going to do a subquery. First of all, say we wanted to know the max grant request amount. Or let's do max donation. That makes more sense probably. And donation isn't what would go in there. It would be donation amount. Also, I need to use community assist. I should warn you too, if you download community assist now from GitHub, I did another update to its structure. I've been trying to improve it, make it more logical. So it might be slightly different. So if I do this, we can get, I mean, I could name it, but we get the max definition, which is $12,000. Somebody donated $12,000. But if you wanted to know who that was, or if you wanted to know the date of it, you can't do that with this structure, right? Because if I say, so like person key and donation date, right? I have to group by those. What will happen? So what will happen is you will get pretty much every row in the table, right? Because it has to group by that person key and group by the donation date, because you have to group by everything that's not a part of the aggregate function. So yeah, because it operates over all of the rows.
It only puts one, it doesn't sum or average, it doesn't use all the data in the row, right?
But it compares all the data in the rows. So it is aggregate still because it operates on data more along more than one. So it goes through all of the things that are grouped and looks for the max. But the max, when you have a person key or donation date in there, is basically the same as just the max for the row. Just every row is its own max, right? So it's really fairly meaningless. So if you wanted to do this, the way you would have to do it is with a subquery. So let's just do, and if we wanted to do a join to get the name, we can. We'll do that maybe in a moment. So I'm going to do person key, donation date, and I'm going to do donation amount. And I'm going to say where, all right, from donation. Where donation amount equals, and then I'm going to start a subquery. Select max donation amount from donation. Okay, so that's a subquery. And what it says here is that we want to return this information from donation where the donation amount is equal to the max donation amount, right? So it will return the information for that one donation, or if there's more than one with that value. But there it is. So the person key is 78. This is the date, and that's the amount. So this is something you can only do with a subquery.
This called where is subquery. Yes, that's what I say. I'm sorry, I missed. Donation.
Yeah.
Can you repeat again, please?
Well, it's just that you have, as your criteria, you have a subquery.
Oh,
And it will return the maximum donation amount. So we're saying that this amount is going to be equal to the amount that this returns. Couple of things about the equal sign here. You can only do that if this will return only a single value, right? It'll complain if you try to return a set of values. The equal sign has to be a match, so it has to return a single value. It has to be able to say true or false. Does that make sense?
So it's kind of nested, like it does the select in the parentheses first as a first pick.
Right.
And then applies to the second select.
And we could, if we wanted to, we could do an inner join to find out who the person is. I don't know if you care. Okay, let's do a quick inner join. I think I know who it is.
Steve Cumber.
No, I think I put Bill Gates in here.
I think it's similar to scope in scope. The subquery means more detail inside the data.
Maybe.
Sorry.
I'd have to think about that. So person, first name. And then we'll do the donation date and donation amount. So, and then we'll just do from person. Inner join donation on person dot person key equals donation dot person key, where donation amount equals, and I'm just going to copy this. This is exactly the same query, except that we'll get the name of the person. Oh, Karen 48. I have no idea who that is. I thought there is a Bill Gates one in here.
Yeah. Outdone.
Yeah, I suspect. So a lot of these donations and stuff happen in class as we're demoing things. So I don't know a Karen 48 though, or 40 or 48, whatever. So this is one use of a subquery. Does that make sense? That's one of the easiest uses of a subquery. No questions on that one? Now again, you can do this. I'm going to do a slightly different one. Remember we did the outer join to find out which services nobody had ever done? You can do that with a subquery too. It uses a different operator. So I'm going to select what did I grant type? Grant type name from grant type. Is that right? Doesn't seem to like, there it is. Okay. Where grant type key not in, and then I'm going to do select grant request, or select grant type key. From grant request. Okay. So this has exactly the same effect as a an outer query, left or outer query. So we're going to look for, not in, these are operators, so not we've seen before. In we haven't seen. In looks for inclusiveness in a set that's returned. It's not an equal sign, so it's just saying, is it in the set of values that are returned, right? So we're going to look, we're going to select the grant type key for grant request. It will return all of the keys that are in grant request. And if it's not in that, then it will return the grant type name. So I will run this, and it returns the same things that our outer query did. Right? I actually think this is a lot easier than the outer join.
It is. So,
Now, if we were to return in, let's just do the same thing with in, it would return all of the ones except funerary and holiday. So I'm just going to copy it. So this one is in instead of not in. And it returns everything except those two.
So those, the first one with the grant type names, that.
These are the ones that actually have been requested. And then this one returns the ones that have never been requested.
What do you mean by requested?
It means that somebody has asked for a grant for all of these things. Yeah. So nobody's ever asked for a grant for funerary services or what's the other one, vacation, holiday.
so the last one is the except holiday.
This is the one, right? This is the one that shows the ones not in that set.
Oh, okay.
This
because
one
the
shows
other
all the
not.
ones that are in the set.
Okay.
So the in operator basically evaluates the set of returned values and sees if it's in that set.
Except holiday. How do you see except holiday? I don't see.
These are the ones that are not in there. Nobody ever requested a grant for those service types. This one is the ones they did request things for. So the in keyword is there.
The last one actually just return all grant types.
It doesn't return all the grant types. It only returns the types that are in there. It doesn't return holiday,
Oh.
and it doesn't
okay.
return funerary because they're not in the set.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what I want to do for this next one. I want to show you how you could do it kind of like a join. It's not really as effective as a join in some ways because you can't get all the fields to display that you want. I'm going to say person, first name, person, last name. All right. From person. Where person key is in. And then I'm going to do, I'm just going to break the line here. You don't have to, but select person key from employee where employee key in, and then I'm going to do another select, and let me look at my database to see what I did because this is part of the part I changed. grant review comment. So select employee key from grant review comment. So what we're getting is we're getting the names of the employees who have commented on grants. Does that make sense? So we're getting the first name and last name from person, where the person key is in employee, so it's an employee, and where the employee key is in grant review comment. A couple of things when you're doing this, you have to compare like to like. Person key to person key, employee key to employee key. It's just the way you do it at join, but you're doing it with these subqueries instead. Now, the one disadvantage of joining things this way is that you can't list all of the fields that you might want up here. You can't because of the way the query is structured. However, sometimes subqueries are more, so there's only one person that's commented. But Jessica commented. There's only like 5 records in employee comment.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So the columns or fields that you can see
Are only from the first
are only from the
two.
first.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't-
So I could get person key and I could get anything that's in person,
you
but
can't,
I couldn't show anything from employee or from,
or grant review.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
and you can cascade these as long as you want, just like you can do inner joins. But again, we're basically doing the person key, employee key to employee key. If you match unlike things, you may get an answer, but it's going to be garbage. You know, it's going to. All right, questions on that? I don't actually do that much except in class. I mean, this kind of thing. I sometimes do like the outer joins. Those are really useful. You know, as I said, the subqueries are more intuitive, I think, than the outer join in that. And oftentimes, as I said up here, this is the only way you can do this, is with the subquery. There's no way to get that information exactly like that without it. Now you could do well, the only thing, I mean, you could sort, you could order by donation amount descending, and the max would be on the top. And so you could say top 1 instead of top 10, and you could probably get there that way. But, you know, in a general query, this is. All right, so let's do, this is actually where it starts getting really useful, but it's also where it starts getting confusing. So these have all been criteria, the subqueries and the criteria. You can also use them in the select statement. So I am going to, first I'm going to select grant. I'm going to do it simple first. And then we'll complicate it, okay? So I'm going to just get the grant type key, and that's what kind of grant it is, like food or whatever. Later we'll do a join to add that so we can see the name, but right now we're just going to do the number. And I'm going to do some grant request amount. And as, what do I want to name it? Total, I'll just do it total. Then I'm going to do a subquery. So what I want to do is to show the grant request amount. And then I'm going to do, I want to see the total amount of all requests, right? I'm going to do select sum grant amount from grant request. And I'll say this is grand total. And then I will, we need to say from, oops. Having trouble, he's trying to get from grant request. And this grant request amount, not grant amount. So right in the middle of our columns, right, we have a subquery. So there's a parentheses for the subquery itself. And then there's the parentheses for the function. Yeah.